It is Tuesday morning. Your LLM-based trading agent is pulling the same composite verdict endpoint it has been hitting for weeks. Nothing in your codebase changed, but the factor block that came back this morning is different from last Monday's. The funding divergence signal is weighted more heavily, the squeeze signal has faded. You did not touch a config file. The weights shifted because last week's published calls resolved, and AlgoVault's data-flywheel completed its cycle overnight. That is the mechanic this post explains. How every verified call that resolves becomes a training datum for next week's weight update, and how that closed loop is what separates a live accountability system from a perpetually optimistic backtest. AlgoVault is the brain layer for AI trading agents, and the published track record is the proof. The win rate stands at 90.5% pfe-win-rate across 98,660 plus verified calls, Merkle-anchored on base L2. Don't trust, verify. Those numbers move because the flywheel is live. So how does the loop actually work? It runs in 5 discrete steps, each feeding the next. First, your agent calls get trade signal. The MCP server returns a composite verdict alongside a factor block, 1 verdict, not 8 raw indicators, exposing the current weight of each contributing signal class, funding divergence, open interest delta, cross, venue liquidation pressure, and the regime classifier. These weights are not baked in at deploy time. They reflect the output of the most recent weekly retune. Second, the call is published in Merkle-anchored on base L2. Every call that clears the confidence threshold gets batched and committed on-chain. The commitment records the composite verdict, the timestamp, the asset, the timeframe, and the factor weights that produced it. That record is verifiable by anyone at any time independent of AlgoVault. Third, the outcome window closes. After the signal window expires, the call's outcome is recorded against the same Merkle anchor. The window varies by signal class. Some resolve in a single session, others take several days for the directional thesis to play out. Fourth, a weekly aggregation runs the accuracy audit. Signal classes whose verdicts correlated with correct outcomes see their weight increase. Classes that were weakly correlated or contrary to the resolved outcome see their weight decrease. No human rewrites a config file, and no subjective override is applied. The resolved call corpus decides. And fifth, the new weights shipped to the composite verdict generator. Monday's calls reflect the rebalance. The cycle restarts. The compounding effect is the point. Each new cohort of resolved calls extends the training corpus, and competitors without a published call history simply cannot run this loop. Why does this matter for agent builders? 3 reasons stand out. First, trust is verifiable, not asserted. Static weight signal services ask you to trust the vendor's judgment about which signals matter this quarter. AlgoVault's published track record exposes the weight evolution over time. The Merkle-anchors let you verify independently that the outcome data attached to each batch is unaltered. You are auditing a ledger, not accepting a marketing claim. Second, regime adaptation happens without a manual rewrite on your end. When market dynamics shift, a new perpetual venue reshapes the cross-venue funding ladder, or a macro regime transition restructures open interest flow. The flywheel auto-adapts within approximately 1 retuning cycle. Agents built on top of AlgoVault inherit the adaptation without a code change. Third, the architecture keeps the public proof clean. AlgoVault's public-facing metric is pfe-win-rate. The outcome signal driving the weight updates is internal, by design. This is not evasion, it is quality discipline. You observe the effect of the flywheel in a rising win rate over a growing verified corpus, without seeing the internal mechanism that would let a competitor reverse engineer the weighting algorithm. On the implementation side, you can inspect the live track record and current factor weights in a single session. Pull the performance public endpoint to get the headline pfe-win-rate and total verified calls, the same numbers anchored in the Merkle batches. Then call get trade signal and examine the AlgoVault metadata block to see the live factor weights from the most recent weekly retune. 2 fields fingerprint the flywheel. The weights updated. A field confirms the freshness of the current weight set, and the Merkle batch field ties the call to its verifiable on-chain record. Comparing the factor weights object across consecutive Mondays gives you a precise signal for when a new flywheel cycle has fired. The TypeScript weight monitor pattern in the post makes this actionable. It pulls factor weights on a weekly schedule, compares against a stored snapshot, and emits a notification when any weight shifts by more than 5 percentage points. Wire it into a Monday morning cron job, a GitHub Actions scheduled workflow, or a Claude code hook, and your agent stack gets an automatic alert every time a new weight set ships. 2 pitfalls are worth flagging. Weight updates are weekly, not real-time. The weekly smoothing window prevents a single noisy session from thrashing the factor distribution. If you need finer grained signal composition within a session, the confidence field in the real-time response is the right lever. It reflects intraday conditions while the weight stays stable. Outcome windows also vary by signal class. A short timeframe scalping signal may resolve within 1 session. A structural thesis signal may take several days. The weekly aggregation handles each class against its own outcome window definition. Finally, the data flywheel's output is the published track record itself. That figure is not a backtest number. Every call in the corpus cleared the confidence threshold before the outcome was known, resolved against its outcome window, and was anchored on-chain. The Merkle anchoring creates an append, only audit trail. Outcomes cannot be retroactively removed or reclassified to improve the headline figure. The flywheel is live. Every call your agent makes today becomes part of next week's weight update. Get started with GitTrade. Signal in under 5 minutes at AlgoVault.com docs. Audit the verified call corpus at AlgoVault.com track record. Or try it free. 100 free calls per month. Hold never costs. No sign up required. Runs directly in Telegram.